why you've agreed to participate in our project. It all comes together, and it's all understandable now. And as our project is humanitarian in its nature, and you've been you had lifelong work in humanitarian efforts in you've fought for the removal of landmines all over the world into war zones. Could you say why was it important for you? Why did you always for decades had an energy and resources to help with this, to put the work needed?
Whatever compassion I have in my heart is only a response. I see, I react. And having, like I said, I grew up in rehabilitation centers when I saw how many people have been maimed, truly maimed, lost their limbs, lost the ability to communicate, lost their faith, lost everything. I thought, what is the insanity of this still doing in the ground? It's not complicated, you react. So for about 3 or 4 years, I was very dedicated to that issue. I found that it's a very political issue. It's a very political issue. It has to do with borders. It has to do with civil war in countries that never end. When you believe in this issue, the doors get slammed in your face every day. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. After a while, you feel like an idiot because you talked about it. But the point is that it's an insane environment we're living in the world today. In many, many regions of the world, as we know. What's happened in the last 100 years is barbaric. I'll give you an example.
100%.
As of the end of World War II, there were 400 million landmines placed on Earth. That meant that once every 22 minutes, a child would lose their legs. That exists today, it's worse. In Afghanistan, as of 1990, it would take 1,000 years to minesweep Afghanistan. Today, it is worse. The point is, I got involved in this issue because I reacted to it, nothing else. I wanted to make a film about it. I lost money, a lot of money to do it. I made a 20-minute film about it. But my point is that, anything to do with I'm not a charitable person, but I have helped people. I have worked for the homeless. I react. It's all. It's just a response. And I think that's why we're here on Earth, to react.
I would like to ask you who you can mention as your, the most, I don't know how to say, most important mentor in your life, from film industry, director, or maybe from literature, I don't know, mentor in a different ways. Who you can mention as your mentor?
Well, I had several mentors in my life that I chose specifically, and I really urge any of you that are being actors, and many actors are very shy about this, but it's very important to have a mentor. Why is it important to have a mentor? It's no different than if you're playing a violin, you have to have a coach. If you play football, you have to have a coach. If you play the piano, you have to have a coach. If you're an actor, you should have a coach. Why? Because they will evoke things in you to understand, why are you doing what you do? Why do you want to do this play? Why do you want to prance upon the stage and flaunt your ego and flaunt your body and flaunt your brain and your voice all over the room and sing a song that they're going to hear a mile away? Why? What is the point? And I need to learn this as a young actor because I was myself a musician for many years. I was very, I loved the adrenaline rush of what it was to perform. But what a coach will teach you is that why are you doing this play? Why do you want to do this play? Why do you want to play this role? What can you bring to this that nobody else has before you. That's when you become an actor. When you can answer that question, the reason I want to play this role is because I identify completely with the emotional dilemma that this character is in. The reason I want to do this play is because this playwright was an alcoholic. And all of my family are alcoholics. I understand alcoholism. I understand the disease of falling down every day. I want to do this playwright because this is my life. My point is, you will identify as you go along in your work. You will identify with a writer or a director or a script, something that touches something off of you. You have to know why you want to do what you do. One of the greatest things I learned as a very young teacher, actually the coach I worked with was, she was Russian-Swiss woman named Mira Rostova. There were five major teachers in Manhattan, in New York, when I was a young actor. They were all products of Stanislavski. They had all come back to Moscow to study with Stanislavski. They formed a group theater. Some of them broke off from it, but there was basically a small group of very illuminated people that really had studied what was happening in the Moscow art theater. Why I bring up the Moscow art theater? Because it really is the father of theater and film realism as we know it today. Anton Chekhov, Stanislavski, and Michael Chekhov created really actors' realism and how to access an issue in yourself to identify with a playwright so that you can play a character or find a particular trait of behavior that became amusing, that became a full-blown character, that became a story. Because they learned how to tap into, Michael Chekhov was a genius at tapping into a piece of behavior, one little, even if a person has a tick. Why does he have a tick? Maybe because he lied all his life. Who knows? But the point is that was their gift. They created realism. So there were about 5 or 6 major teachers, coaches in New York. Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler, and Stanford Meisner, Mira Rostova. There were about 4 or 5, Bobby Lewis. There were about 4 or 5 others. Mm-hmm. My point is that they were students, true students of the Moscow art theater. Moscow was really the central nucleus of what became the greatness of American realism. That's a fact. That's a fact.
We love this. I think we need applauses on this moment.
Huh?
We need applauses for this moment. We like the last phrase you mentioned.
So when I work with Mira, I was already a young actor on the stage a lot. I'd done plays and everything. And I was about 21. And I'd already been in the theater for a while, and I was very, very energetic, passionate young actor. But what Mira taught me was that, do you really understand the issue of what this writer is written? I didn't. I wanted to act. That's all I wanted to do. But my point is that when you work with a great coach, they will elicit from you an understanding of the issues that you're on stage about. You're not on stage to flaunt your ego. You're not on stage just, maybe in your mind you think you're entertaining people, when in fact you're basically aggrandizing yourself. And what great coaches do, they pull the issue out of you, so you're not aggrandizing yourself. You're speaking about a real issue that exists in a real relationship, one-on-one, two-on-two, whatever the case may be, a disease, whatever it is. A real coach will make something so specific to you, it will be in your heart when you get on that stage. And it has to be in your heart. If it's not in your heart, it's not truth. You have to at least supply some modicum of truth, and that comes from understanding the issue that an author is writing. And I find today, I said this morning, one of my biggest gripes that really bothers me today about the world that we all live in right now, especially for young performers and young actors, there's no time allotted for a creative process. people are throwing young actors literally in front of cameras and expect them to perform miracles. You cannot perform a miracle when a miracle is based on a process. Miracles don't happen. Miracles are the results of processes, of processing. And my idea here is that whether you play a piano concerto, or you play a violin concerto, or you do a painting, or you do a performance, it is the amalgamation, it is the summation of all the processes and thoughts that you put into that piece of work. And when you watch a great actress or a great actor work, and you feel, my God, they are that person, they've embodied that person, it's because they have taken themselves and submitted themselves, submersed themselves into the journey of that character and that writer. They have totally immersed their life, body, and mind and heart into that writer and what that writer is trying to convey. That is the meaning of being an actor. So it does have a higher meaning. You are, in a way, a mouthpiece. You're a voice for a writer. You're a voice for a poet. You're a voice for a great musician. You're a voice for a great philosopher. You're a voice for a great mind. And that is the principal obligation, is to embody and become the voice of what has been written. And what has been written, more often than not, is something bigger than all of us. Issues are bigger than us. Issues are communal. Issues touch communities. All of us in this room have something incredibly in common with each other. It's a fact. Is that answer?
More than
Thank you.
more than answer.